Introducing the striving method, a new ceramic tile flooring construction method. There are two conventional methods for ceramic tile flooring construction: laid mortar and pressure bonding. Let's examine some of the differences between these two methods. First, let's look at the laid mortar method. With the laid mortar method, sand is mixed with cement like this. Unfortunately, dust tends to fly everywhere and the construction site can become quite dirty. Also, a shovel loader and other heavy machinery are necessary because of the large quantity of sand and cement required for the process. First, the dry mortar is leveled out with a trowel and cement kiln paste is applied in a layer above. Then, in the traditional method, tiles are laid on top. Let's take a closer look at how the laid mortar method works. As you can see, many types of workers are necessary for the different stages of the process. There must be enough space at the construction site for the shovel loader and other required heavy machinery, as well as an area for mixing the sand with the cement. The number one advantage of the laid mortar method is that the overall process is fairly speedy. Another advantage is a significantly lower price tag, as materials like sand and cement are relatively cheap, so construction can be completed for reasonable costs. On the other hand, the laid mortar method has some problems. Looking at the chart, you can see that this construction method is unsuitable for upper stories because a large space is needed to prepare a high quantity of materials, and the gross weight of the materials is quite heavy. Also, the laid mortar method results in a very dirty construction site, as dirt and exhaust gas settle over everything. Next, let's look at the other conventional ceramic tile construction method, pressure bonding. First, the mortar groundwork for laying the tiles is spread on by a trowel. Very careful trowel work is required because bumps lead to unfavorable results. The groundwork surface is closely inspected and the tile is laid. The defining feature of pressure bonding is the way the tiles are laid one by one, as indicated in the graphic. Also, a worker must wipe off the excess mortar from the surface of the tiles. In terms of the advantages of the pressure bonding method, the type of glue used in the process strongly bonds the tile to the ground. Also, this construction method is better suited to tiling upper stories because the required materials are relatively lightweight. However, the overall process takes a great deal more time because the mortar and tiles are laid one by one. Also, the pressure bonding method has a higher cost because the mortar groundwork and leveling must be done in advance, and the necessary frames are expensive. Typically, either laid mortar or pressure bonding has been selected on a case-by-case basis according to each method's respective advantages and disadvantages. However, there remains a major problem which is not addressed by either method. The problem is the high occurrence of unfavorable outcomes, like cracks in the tile or split joints caused by the tile rising. Why do these unfavorable outcomes occur? Let's take a look at the construction site again. Clear acrylic boards are laid on the cement in the laid mortar method instead of ceramic tiles. Do you see the air trapped between the acrylic board and the cement? Now, let's examine the surface of the acrylic board. The large holes are called air pockets. Air pockets occur when the cement does not adhere to the tile surface. As indicated in the graphic, air pockets can occur at both the edge and middle of a tile. Now, let's look at the pressure bonding method. As with the previous laid mortar method demonstration, clear acrylic boards are used instead of ceramic tiles. Note that again, air is trapped between the cement and the board. As with the laid mortar method, the mortar hardened without sticking to the tiles because of trapped air. This photo demonstrates how little of the mortar actually ends up sticking to the tile. Note how much of the tile's surface remains white. Air pockets can occur in multiple places with the pressure bonding method. So how often do unfavorable outcomes like cracked tiles and split joints actually occur? Here are the results of a percussion test following construction. Note the high frequency of unfavorable outcomes with general ceramic tile construction. The laid mortar method resulted in a 10 to 30% rate of unfavorable outcomes, and the pressure bonding method resulted in a 5 to 15% rate of unfavorable outcomes. The unfavorable results of tile rising require immediate reconstruction and lead to customer dissatisfaction. Even if the quality of craftsmanship is improved, laid mortar and pressure bonding continue to be unpredictable and unsatisfactory methods of ceramic tile construction. So then, is there a way to maintain the advantages of the traditional laid mortar and pressure bonding construction methods while resolving the propensity for unfavorable outcomes due to rising tiles? And thus, a new method of construction is born, the striving method. Let's return to the construction site. Although the site is relatively large, note how level the tile work appears. With the striving method, several craftsmen form one team and work together at the construction site. When laying the groundwork, first, one craftsman applies the mortar and another uses a trowel and special tool to level the groundwork. Next, a craftsman adjusts the quantity of the mortar, and then another lays the tiles. Mortar is also spread on the underside of the tiles to raise the density of the tile surface and increase the chance of adhesion. The defining feature of the striving method is that the basic level line is examined in advance. As you can see, the first distinct feature of the striving method is the special tool used for construction. This special tool is called a striper, and it is the key tool of the striving method. Up until now, there have only been minimal attempts to mechanize the comb trowel. With the striper, we can strengthen and stabilize the adhesion surface and dissolve the air, which eventually causes tile rising. This image captured post-construction demonstrates how by using the striper and spreading mortar on the undersides of the tiles, the mortar volume remains well balanced. Torn-up tiles reveal how thoroughly and strongly the tile surface and mortar stick together with the striving method. The difference between the conventional laid mortar and pressure bonding methods and the striving method should be quite clear. The unfavorable outcomes caused by tile rising are resolved by the striper and special mortar, and advantages of the traditional methods, such as the laid mortar method's speed and stability, and the pressure bonding method's strength and tidiness, are preserved by the striving method. Also, there are various benefits for tile flooring construction on upper stories. This is the method which preserves the advantages of the traditional construction methods while eliminating problematic tile rising. This is the new method, the striving method. This brand new method maintains the advantages of traditional methods and optimizes the conditions for adhesion of ceramic tiles. Now, let's take another look at the striving method in action. Note how the construction process runs smoothly between phases. The mortar and clear acrylic board adhere cleanly and snugly. Next, let's compare the striving method and traditional methods on several points. First, concerning speed, from start to finish, including cleanup, on a site of 1,000 square meters, the striving method can be completed faster than the laid mortar method and much faster than the pressure bonding method. Concerning cost, you can see that there is a difference between lower and upper story construction, but with the striving method, note the dramatic cost reduction for upper story construction. Regarding strength, the striving method utilizes the power of the bonding agent in the mortar, leading to results which are similar to, if not better than, the results of the pressure bonding method. Last, let's examine the frequency of unfavorable result occurrences with the striving method. As discussed earlier, unfavorable results occurred at a rate of 5 to 30% with the traditional laid mortar and pressure bonding methods, but the striving method exhibits less than a 1% unfavorable result occurrence rate. So far, we've examined the differences between this new method and traditional methods, and all results point to the fact that the striving method is the new method of tile construction, which harnesses the benefits of the traditional methods while drastically reducing the occurrence of unfavorable outcomes and shortening construction time. Finally, let's take a look at the completed striving method construction site. Note how there is hardly any warping of the flooring in this photo. This high quality of construction is the strongest advantage of the striving method.